can ask me anything about a property you're looking at, considering, trying to buy yourself, wholesale, want to partner on. Shoot me an email. I'll take a quick look at it. I'll schedule a free call with you. And we're going to call a student that emailed from Rhode Island today.
Hello.
Hey, Jackson, Jim Thorpe.
Tim, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. How is Rhode Island today?
Yesterday we were flooded a bit in terms of some of the highways. They had to close the roads, and it's not fun.
Oh no. So are you from? Is that where you grew up?
No, I'm from Providence. I live in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And let's see here. Me and my buddy, we were kind of doing a lot of research, and I was looking at your course as well. And we were trying to not reverse engineer it, but to see what does it take to kind of get a deal. So
sure.
We were able to get this land from a friend of my partner. Her husband just recently passed about a year ago, and they're not sure on what to do with the land. So I was like, hey, we should at least maybe get a P&S agreement written up. And we've gotten that written up. She agreed to the price that she was offering it to us for $36,000.
$36,000, which is less than he paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we put a deposit, and in the deal we were like, well, because we have to contact like a wetland expert and do some more research. So give us 6 months. So she gave us 6 months to complete the deal, and that deal was just done in August.
Okay.
So it's been about a month now, but I've just had some setbacks. I recently went through a divorce, and pretty much I got wiped out. My ex-wife served me papers, and
no
so
fun.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my life back together.
So let me ask you a couple questions, Jackson. So have you done any real estate before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And so you just started searching the internet, looking at other people who do off-market and assignments and wholesaling, and that's kind of how you found Jim Thorpe, huh?
Yes.
Okay. So in the world of getting you going, I will tell you that we personally do not advise going and doing land development for your first wholesaling deals. Because as you're just experiencing, you got wetlands issues, you got, and I'll tell you what I do. Somebody asks me to take a look at a piece of property. I will pull up the property, I'll do a quick evaluation on it, I'll see whether it's land, whether it's a house, whether it's a rental, whether it's a development site, a gas station, it doesn't matter what it is. We're looking to try and quickly analyze highest and best use, what somebody paid for it, has it been listed before, what could you do on it, and then I do a quick assessment of how to help somebody, essentially quick consulting, which is, in the world of, there's two different things. If you want to buy property and develop property or own and manage investment properties, that's one conversation. And if you want to learn wholesaling, that's a different conversation or a subset.
Okay.
Most good wholesalers also buy a lot of property because that gives you more credibility, and people that buy from you know that if they don't buy it, you'll probably buy it yourself. Make sense?
Wow. Lots of sense, yes.
So if you wanted to, if you said you're you're near Providence, that's the only major town I know in Rhode Island. But if you want to start out wholesaling, you have to find something where supply does not meet demand, or you've got to have incredibly favorable price or terms. And that's why my program's different, is that we're not doing distressed. We're just basically finding supply and demand. And so, it's like finding tickets for a sold-out Patriots game. If you got a ticket, somebody will pay you more than you paid for them, likely, depending on the game and the time of the year and who's playing. But, that's the same thing with real estate. So you can find opportunity in any city, any town in the United States. But if you want to wholesale, you've got to find something unique about it. And I will tell you that land is by far the toughest niche to get into to start out wholesaling. Now, if you wanted to start developing, it's a great time to go land bank because there's lots of land sellers. There's people will give you favorable terms because there's not a lot of builders speculating right now. 24, 36 months from now, we don't know where we're going to be. We don't know who's going to be president. We don't know if we're going to be bankrupt. I mean, we don't know what's going on out there, right?
Exactly.
So there's a lot of fear out there. So builders are not speculating to build. So you then take it a step further. You went to a site that has some challenges with the stream on the east side of it, and so I'm not saying don't work on it, but I guess my goal would be, what are you trying to do to it? Are you trying to wholesale it, or are you trying to buy it?
I'm trying to wholesale it.
Okay. And so to go a step further, so now you want to wholesale it.
Yeah.
Then we ask, this is what I trained. Who? Like, we're a bunch of parrots or owls. Who would buy it?
So the unique scenario is that I did come across a couple of people. I have a friend who's a real estate agent. He showed them the land after the P&S was signed, and they kept on going back to the public records of like the DEM based on like the stream and all that stuff that's going on. But I did speak with another wetland expert, and I got an email from him that he's able to like go out, measure, and see what's the size of the property that can be built on.
Right.
And I included that in the email. There was like a $750 charge. I haven't gone back to him yet, but from my understanding, looking from outside in without any experience, I think maybe that may help somewhat of the dilemma. Aside from going to the the public records at DEM, so at least the buyer would know. Okay, this is what I could build on this property because they're looking to build in that area.
Correct. So quickly when I just Google searched what's the average home price in that zip code, the average home price was $450. What's a new home go for in that neighborhood?
I believe someone, what was it? There was a showing on a property, but it just needs some more work. It wasn't too far. It's like a block over. It was about within that price range, like 500.
Sure. Okay.
500,000.
So then we go to, okay, you got a piece of land. Looks like you could probably only put one house on it, even though it's just over an acre. You got wetlands, so you're going to have setback from the wetlands, which is what the expert tells you how far away you've got to be, and it gives you a buildable footprint.
Yeah, sorry. Hold on. I was watching your course at the same time. Waiting for your call. Hold on one sec. Okay.
Yeah. Who's that guy in the background? Tell him to shut up. See, you didn't actually think you'd get to talk to me, did you? You'd like, I'll get shoved off to somebody else. Yeah, but no, you actually get to talk to Jim. So Jackson, then the question would be, if you were looking to buy an acre in that neighborhood, how many other properties are available and what would they cost?
That's a good question.
So that would be my check mark as I was going through an analysis of any property. And so keep going. And so I'm not telling you not to work on it.
Okay.
So right now you're in contract for 6 months. You have to close cash for $36,000.
Yeah.
Did you give them a earnest money promissory note or a small deposit or put anything in escrow?
So she took the small deposit of $3,000.
Okay. And has that been released to the seller or is that in escrow?
It has been released to the seller. Yeah.
So you put $3,000 on the table, you gave it to the seller, now you got 6 months to either close on it or sign the contract.
Exactly.
Okay. So if you were going to sign it, what would you charge?
So I'm having a difficult time in like figuring out what that charge would be for that area and land. So I'm thinking I have to find a way to make up that 36 or walk away
So in the traditional world of assignments, you have and I assume you wrote a contract that's fully assignable.
Yes.
Okay. So at this point, you either need to go find someone that wants to build their own home on that lot, or
Yes.
or a spec builder that would build a home on that lot. And he's probably not going, a builder probably wouldn't close on that land. And if I were going to write the contract as a builder, I wouldn't close on the land until I had a permit, or if I put very little down, like 3,000 down, and I took title to it through owner contract.
Okay.
And so those are the strategies we teach for land development or closing on permit. So now the reverse is true. You got to go find somebody that wants to write you a check for the right to buy this property.
Yes.
So there can't be other 1 acre lots within 3 miles for less than 36,000, or no one would probably pay you for it. Now, if there are other buildable lots with no stream and they're 60, 80, 100, 120,000, then somebody might write you a $10,000, $15,000 check for this contract.
Okay.
Now, maybe you could get more. I don't know supply and demand enough to tell you, yeah, you could make 25 or 50K. You know, that's pretty unusual when you're getting 50 or 100% the purchase price of a property. You know, we run in a 5 to 10% assignment fee kind of window is what we do, but you know, we're dealing with assets that are 500,000 to 5 million. So the numbers are relative to what a broker commission would be, or a finder's fee. So, I mean, at this point, you know, I can help you through the assignment process and teach you a little bit about that. You know, the challenge is, Jackson, with the wetlands, no builder or buyer is probably going to want to close until they hear from the city or county, or wherever you go to file for a permit, that building permit could be issued without question. And the challenge with all government agencies is no one will give you any insurances until you actually go through the steps. They will hem and haw and say it is likely you could build on this site. It appears you could build on this site, but until you actually submit for the permit and go through all the check marks, you don't know whether you'll get a permit. So somebody's going to risk 50 grand on a maybe.
Okay, got it.
So it's very hard for you to tell a builder, hey, write me this check, 15 grand, you know, it's a great deal. He's risking, you know, essentially 50 grand that he can get a permit.
Yeah.
So see how hard that is?
Yeah.
So is there a shortage of any property in your area?
Shortage meaning?
Are there a shortage of houses for sale, a shortage of rentals, a shortage of apartment buildings for sale? So if you want to get into wholesaling, you either got to go work in a niche that gets you incredibly favorable price, which is generally distressed or wholesale, or you've got to go find unique opportunities where you get favorable terms or reasonably good price where there are none for sale.
Okay.
Supply and demand. That's the number one rule of a wholesaler, supply and demand. It does you no good to go find land in Cumberland, Rhode Island if there's 50 other lots for sale.
So, in terms of that question, there is a shortage, because there was a brand new house that was built for like, man, I should have had that address. I think it was close to like 800K, but he bought a lot with a similar size for like I think it was like $150,000.
Sure. So the next step, which anybody can do, would be you'd go to the municipality and see what the minimum lot size is for that neighborhood, and see if you could build more than one house, which generally 1 acre parcels in the suburbs you can build more than one house on. I'm saying generally speaking. I don't know that to be true for this zip code and that town. But generally, lots are somewhere in the neighborhood from 5 to 25,000 square feet. So if you have a 1 acre parcel, you might be able to build 2 houses there. So then if you could build 2 houses there and you charge 50,000, meaning you tried to make 14,000, that's only 25 per lot per house. And if the average house is 500,000, that's a very low land basis for a lot.
I see.
So this is all the things we teach in the program of how to analyze all kinds of different properties, land development, short plat, single family fixers, single family rentals, buying a 10-unit apartment building, buying a commercial building. There's opportunity in every sector and real estate in every town. It's just teaching you how to look at it.
Got it.
And it's hard to do it in 10 minutes, Jackson. So
It is.
let's keep the conversation going, and I can teach you how to keep looking at property, how to get it in contract, how to evaluate property, and hopefully teach you, which is the first kind of lesson, is how to find property and wholesale it, and then we move into later chapters on how to buy your own investment property or your first house. And so
Okay, definitely.
yeah. So, okay, well, I gotta run on to my next meeting, but let's keep the conversation, Jackson, going, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
all right, have a good day.
You too, sir. Take care. Bye.
Okay, so Jackson picked one of the toughest things to start out with in this business is land. Land is incredibly difficult to wholesale, especially if it has wetlands issues, steep slopes, bald eagles, wildlife, anything that's difficult, lots of trees. That's just part of America, is anti-development. So you have to work through all the hurdles. Hurdles take time. When time is in the way of getting through the hurdles, very few people just want to show up and write you a check. So it is a very long pipeline. Most land development pipelines, if you were a broker, would take 12 to 24 months till you got a listing. If you're going to try and wholesale land, boy, it can be a long pipeline, especially now in this cycle because a lot of builders are not buying land. So while you can get incredibly favorable terms from sellers, you are going to have very few people show up and just plop some money on your desk. So keep that in mind as we wholesale. So we'll schedule another call and we'll see you on the next call.